Well, for more on the future of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, I'm joined live via Skype by Lucy Baker. She's a Consumer Program Associate at the Public Interest Research Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So we got to recap this. So let's start with what the CFPB was designed to do and how it performs that role.
Yeah, absolutely. So the CFPB, of course, stands for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and it is designed to do just that. We feel like the CFPB is designed to protect consumers no matter where they do their business, be it a chartered bank, a credit union, or a payday lender. We feel that all consumers deserve the same protection, and the CFPB is designed to do that.
And we did see, obviously, as Rory said, it was formed in light of the 2008 financial crisis. Now, that wasn't the U.S.'s first recession. So what was it about that recession that led to its formation?
So that recession was, of course, caused by the huge mortgage bubble crisis that was caused by our banks. So in the light of that, then Elizabeth Warren, now Senator Elizabeth Warren, remarked that she thought it was crazy that we have a government agency that regulates a toaster in your house. If it catches on fire and burns your house down, there is a government agency that looks into that and tries to fix it and prevent such issues. But it's crazy, said Senator Elizabeth Warren, that we don't have a financial regulator that looks to make sure that our financial house doesn't burn down. And that's what the CFPB is supposed to do.
So clearly it's addressing a need, but the agency obviously took a backseat under the Trump administration. What happened there, and what were the sticking points that let it get to that point?
So prior to the Trump administration, the CFPB returned almost $12 billion to over 30 million consumers. And during the Trump administration, under first acting director Mick Mulvaney and then director Kathy Kraninger, the Trump administration tried and succeeded to slow down and roll back a lot of the protective measures that had either been implemented or were going to be implemented.
And do we know why they chose to take that route?
Sort of for the points that were just mentioned, that a lot of the Republican and the Trump administration officials felt that the CFPB was overstepping its bounds by regulating Wall Street banks and other financial institutions. They didn't feel like the government should have done that. However, we feel that that is exactly what the government's job is to do, is to protect its consumers. And so we feel that the CFPB's mission is very critical, especially right now during a pandemic, and we're very excited that the CFPB will be hopefully restored to its former glory and maybe even surpass it.
And speaking of that, President Biden's choice, Rohit Chopra, was at the CFPB at its inception and considered one of the initial architects of its rollout. Talk about what he brings to the role.
Yeah, so he was, like you mentioned, he was one of the original staffers. He was the student loan ombudsman. And currently he spent the last 3 years at the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, which is another very important government regulator. So we're very excited that he's going to bring all of that experience, a lot of really great consumer protection qualifications to the table, and we're really excited to see what he's going to do.
Now, despite having an established record of bipartisan support, given the current political climate, do you see any potential hurdles to his Senate approval?
The only hurdles that we see are just those congresspeople that don't believe in the mission of the CFPB the same way that we do. But we really do have every confidence that his confirmation is going to be confirmed and that he will take the helm.
So then what do we know about the Biden administration's priorities in this space and the issues that it plans to tackle first?
Well, that's kind of an easy one. COVID-19. The Biden administration has made that its first priority. And for the CFPB, it's, of course, the financial effects of COVID-19. So we actually, U.S. PERG, just released a report called Consumers in Peril, where we looked at the number of complaints and the kinds of complaints that the CFPB received over the past year during the pandemic. And we've seen that consumer complaints broke old records by staggering amounts, and that consumers really seriously need the kind of protections that the CFPB can offer. So we feel that President Biden's first priority, which is, of course, COVID-19, is very appropriate.
And do you think the agency is going to need any sort of upgrades or reforms to really manage the needs that are now coming from something like a pandemic, which obviously weren't in existence when it was first established?
I mean, yes. every agency is going to need to revisit its old priorities, revisit what it's been doing for the past few years, and the CFPB is no exception. We do feel like there are a few rules that will probably be revisited, rewritten, rethought, and we're very excited to see the CFPB do that and make those right steps for consumers.
And obviously, every country handles this sort of situation differently. How does the US's effort to protect consumers compare to what other countries are doing?
Our organization works very closely with a number of European consumer advocacy groups, and they are dealing with a lot of the same issues that we are, namely data privacy, protecting consumers' welfare, making sure that, if there are any wrongs done to consumers, that they get that money back into their pockets. So a lot of other countries are facing a lot of the same issues that we are as well.
Well, thank you for your insights. Lucy Baker there, Consumer Program Associate at the Public Interest Research Group. Thank you so much.